Epic Gaming Night is sponsored by Analog Gamer. Check out analoggamer.com for epic board gaming apparel.
Have you ever bought a board game when your spouse said no? Have you ever won a game on an insane dice roll? Have you ever killed a dragon using only chopsticks? Do you text your friends to distract them from your current moves? Can you finish off a pizza in between your second and third turn? Can you ride a panda across the plains of Dewey? Do you have what it takes to stop an evil wizard from destroying your village? Do you tell your friends to call you Dungeon Master? Can you muster the strength to play one more game after 2 a.m.? Can you be the chosen one all the way up to bedtime? Have you ever dared to say no and pick your best friend's favorite character anyway? Have you ever randomly shouted nonsense because you thought it would be funny, and it wasn't? Well, we haven't done most of those things either, but we are willing to try. Join us as we explore the world of board gaming and all the crazy things that come with it. Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night Podcast.
Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night Podcast, a podcast about tabletop games, but mostly board games. I'm your host, Roy Kennedy, and with me, as always, is Matt.
Hello.
And Rob.
Hello.
And we have a special guest with us tonight, Emerson.
Hello.
2 more times? No.
Hello.
Yes.
Matt's
We'll
hello
count it.
definitely had a question mark on the end of it.
I was just wanting to see if Rob would follow my tonality there.
Nice.
I'm gonna try to make that a thing. I do what you say, unless I do John Cena.
Not again. No, I'm just kidding.
Probably not again. It was good that one time because I didn't plan it, but now that I think about it, I don't need to do it.
Nice. So Emerson is our special guest tonight. He's been on the podcast before where we talked about a whole bunch of the games that he's worked on. Emerson is from Nazca Games. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Emerson.
Oh, sure. I'm a wannabe game designer.
Wannabe, come on. You are amazing, my friend.
Well, thank you, Rob. Too kind. So I'm most of the time I'm a software developer, and then in my spare time I like to develop games, design games, and I'm hoping that I can grow the company to the point where I can pursue it more as a full-time livelihood. Still a ways off from doing so, but one can dream, right?
Yes.
Yep. And that's what this podcast is about, figuring out how to make sure Emerson does this full time. No, just kidding.
Yeah, so if you folks have any suggestions, let me know.
Buy more Nazca games.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, we're going to talk about a lot of the stuff that Emerson has coming up. But before we get into all that, we're going to talk about what we've been playing.
Awesome.
Who wants to go first? I'll knock it out real quick.
In
Okay, you go,
typical
Matt.
affair, I don't remember what we played, so you go first.
I'll do it. We played this awesome game by Plaid Hat Games' very own Jerry Hawthorne called Tail Feathers.
Feathers.
right.
So Tail Feathers is they took the Mice and Mystics game, which is like a cooperative storytelling game, and they took some of the mechanics from that and added a whole bunch of other different mechanics and made the game into a tactical miniatures game with these amazing bird miniatures and mouse miniatures where you're going around trying to do different scenarios based on the current scenario you're in. There's different objectives, and there's a lot of storyline in between those. You can play out a scenario and do several different things where there's different objectives, whether you're trying to rescue a mouse or capture plans for a ballista or destroy your opponent's nest or whatever it may be. Basically, there's one where you have to control the stump in the middle of the board. So there's all these different types of scenarios. And you can just play however you want to play the game. Basically, you have point builds for your armies, like a lot of other miniatures games. But it's with these awesome, beautiful little, bird miniatures. There's birds with mice riding them, and you can switch out the mouse that you have on there. We actually did a whole podcast all about Tail Feathers with Jerry right before the game came out. And I finally got a chance to play Tail Feathers, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, basically, the game we played was all about destroying your opponent's nest. And it's pretty interesting because in this miniatures game, there's a lot of different ways to bring your units back if they died. We never actually got to the point where we did that because you normally need to save up your cheese to do that. And we were just using our cheese to roll buckets full of dice at each other.
You guys did not save any cheese whatsoever.
We were just like, and now I roll 8 dice against you, and it was a ton of fun.
I just like it because it was like, hey man, should we spin a cheese? Yeah, let's spin a cheese. And then the other guys are like, all right, let's spin a cheese too. So it's just like cheese wars back and forth, and we're just like, all right, never gonna get anywhere.
We weren't playing with all the advanced rules. It's kind of interesting how they made the game sort of modular in the fact that they give you the basic rules set up, and you can add in different things. So you can have death spirals or not have death spirals, or have like action cards or not have action cards.
Thank you,
or have
servant
all
girl.
Sorts of different things.
Just expecting
So sorry, I love you.
come across.
Sorry, that was my wife. She brought me a drink. I'm going to be in trouble when I get off the show. So let's stay on for a very long time.
We know how it is. Where's
Yes.
mine? I don't see. Oh, God. Anyway, good times. But yeah, Tail Feathers is a ton of fun. Emerson, have you gotten to play Tail Feathers yet?
No, I still got my copy, and I'm planning to bring it tomorrow to my gaming group. So that'll be the first time I'm going to be bringing it out. And the only reason I've been delaying is because I just haven't had a chance to like go through the rule book and everything like that. I've just been so busy with stuff. So, and I'm usually the guy that's teaching the game, so I want to make sure like I know all the rules. I've gone through the rule book, watched Rodney Smith's Watch It Played like 5 times. After you do that, you should be like an expert at the game.
Is this like an open gaming night for anybody to come to? Like
pretty much. It's
okay.
Rob's like, I'll be there.
Like, how far away? Like if I were to accidentally map quest it right now.
No, it's in Brooklyn, New York. Look up King's Games. It's on
I'm gonna be
King's Highway.
sick tomorrow. I'm not gonna be able to make Brooklyn.
Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty interesting because it uses a lot of the same Mice and Mystics sort of like combat mechanics where you're rolling the same dice and you're trying to get like the swords for melee combat and the bows for like range combat, and then you're trying to get the shields for defending, which also makes it really cool since it uses the same dice. If you own Mice and Mystics, you have a whole bunch more dice for the game.
Yep.
Also, a cool thing that Jerry did is that a lot of the miniatures from the Mice and Mystic games are cross-compatible into Tail Feathers, so you want to use that cool centipede miniature or whatever, you can. You want to use some like roaches, you can use all these different things in the game, which is actually super exciting too.
I just like the idea of like a mouse sorcerer standing out on the edge of the branch, like throw in spells at a bird that's flying by. Like it seems really awesome that you can just kind of, I don't know, do stuff like that.
How did you guys like the mechanic of the tilting the birds and stuff like that? Did that add anything theme-wise, or was it just...
I feel like I didn't get a whole lot of experience to fly a bird because I flew my bird, I tried to stop their mission, and I'm pretty sure I whiffed on the roll, like to like knock their guys out, and then immediately Rodney's bird got into a death spiral. And when you're in a death spiral, you're trying to roll off against each other to see who can like basically do the most damage to the other bird. And if you tie, then you both take 1 damage and you roll again. And if you tie again, then both your birds plummet to the ground and die.
Did that happen?
And that is what happened. So, like, I flew my bird into the middle of the field, attacked their people that were basically, like, stealthily crawling along the thing. I managed to flip their thing over and, like, attack them. Didn't do any damage to any of them. Then Rodney's bird swoops in, death spirals me, and both of our birds immediately die. And I'm just like, well, there goes my bird. And we were playing kind of interesting. We were playing basically with the core set, but we were playing 4 players, so we didn't have very many units each. So you're supposed to have like 2 core sets if you're playing 4 players, so that way you have a decent amount of units when you're playing. But we were playing with like 2 units each, which is not a whole lot, but it was a learning game for us. It was still a lot of fun.
I was gonna say, I know we got a couple of the rules wrong. So like, tilting was one of the things that we were getting wrong. It was we did it where once you tilted, that was just your course. You just had to go that way, even though you can technically recenter. You just have to make a piloting check. And so I was like, I'll just stick with the whole tilt thing because it makes it a little bit more challenging. But
it's kind of interesting.
I'm looking forward to playing it again.
Literally, we played Rob's copy of the game, and I needed to borrow Rob's copy because I do a little segment on Board Game Blender, and I want to do something for like springtime. So I figured that this would be the perfect game. So I wanted to get some plays in and talk about the game. So Rob literally handed me the game like 30 minutes to an hour before it was time to play it. So I was like scouring the rules and watching Rodney, and then people were walking in, and I'm like, well, we're going to play this game, but I don't really know how to play it. And overall, I think it went really well. So that shows the ease of actually how playing the game, having never seen any of it before, and which I did have the experience of playing Mice and Mystics before. So there's that too.
Yeah. I was going to say, even getting some of the rules wrong, I still felt like it was a really fun game, and I'm looking forward to playing it more because it's only going to get better and better as you kind of sink into understanding everything a little bit more.
I feel like the multiplayer teams worked really well too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like if we had more units,
and I mean we had enough stuff for more units, especially if we added Mice and Mystics type stuff in there. Like you could throw a whole bunch, and maybe I'll be able to get my own copy of the game, and then me and Rob can bring both of ours and have like the big teams and stuff like that.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be pretty fun. But yeah, I feel like it works really well multiplayer as well. Me and Ryan were the rats, and it was my goal. Like the only thing I was worried about was destroying the nest. So like the first thing we did was we sieged Matt and Rodney's like tree, like main tree, and we just started attacking the nest, and they weren't able to ping our guys off fast enough. And every single time we had cheese, I was like, and I use all my cheese and I attack the nest. It was pretty fun.
It was a little rough. It was a little rough. Like we had like 6 mice in the nest, like just shooting them. So they each got three die apiece, but we were always getting like roughly equivalent or like 1 damage on like Roy's big guy who had like 3 health or something. And it was just like,
yeah. And I got to roll like 2 defense dice every time, and I was doing pretty good on the defense rolls. It was fun.
Yeah, I flew a bird around. It was fantastic.
But yeah, that is Tail Feathers. Ton of fun.
Yeah.
And the miniatures look amazing too.
Yes.
Chad did such an amazing job with the. I'm surprised at all the detail in the feathers.
Yeah,
like the wings. Like each individual feather, like he sculpted those. This looks amazing.
Like
almost
the thing
want
that
to be like, Rob, let me paint these.
Yeah.
Rob
I almost want to be like, yes, you can, and then give it back.
The thing that blew me away is I was looking at the Blue Jay miniature, and the Blue Jay actually has chainmail like over like where his like breast would be, and it's like just insane because it's not like a full piece of chainmail. You don't really see it. There's like a plate there, but there's like just tiny pieces of chainmail that you can see, and it's really, really intricate and nice.
Yeah, I would love to get Chad on the podcast at some point to talk about the Spec Drops minis and the minis for Tail Feathers and all these crazy miniatures he does, because just that miniature sculpting thing. I like to paint minis, but like the sculpting thing, I am not that kind of artist at all. So it's just like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. So
yeah.
Awesome. Well, who wants to go next?
You want to go, Emerson?
Sure. Trying to think, what did I've been playing a lot of prototypes. So lots and lots of prototypes, not just my own, but I'm part of like a playtest group here in New York, and so I've been playing different prototypes from other designers as well. But let me think. In terms of published games, I played Imperial Settlers. Have you guys played that one from Portal Games?
I have not, but it's on a short list. I actually really love the graphic art in that game. I like how everyone's like really plumped and small and simple, but it's not. It's I don't know. It's that fun type of cartoonish art that I'm drawn to.
Yeah,
did you play with the expansion with the Atlanteans?
I don't have the Atlanteans. Well, not yet. Anyways, I have my order in, but I played with the Atlanteans back at BGG-Con.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're a lot of fun to play. But you do run around with a big target on your back when you're the Atlanteans, though, because everyone just wants to blow up all your buildings, which is cool. So yeah, I totally agree. The artwork it's amazingly done, and the cuteness really belies its cutthroatness underneath, because a lot of times you are incentivized to attack your opponents and destroy their buildings. So the last time I played, I was the Japanese faction.
Nice.
I guess that was fitting. It was random, but But for the Japanese factions, they're the only faction where you can actually destroy. Normally, you can't destroy the faction buildings, the faction-specific buildings, but the Japanese faction, you can actually destroy them. To make up for that, like the Japanese are able to use their workers as samurais to actually defend them. So, but there's always that incentive to attack because when you attack someone, you'll get goods from destroying their buildings. And sometimes you want to be attacked too because you'll also get a resource from a building that maybe you had intended to just use to to build over it and so forth. So basically, it's I like the aspect that it's an engine building game. So you're building your civilization up, you're getting resources, you're increasing your production, you're getting special abilities, you're getting some special actions, and then ultimately you want to get as many victory points as possible because nothing says that you're awesome like a big pile of victory points.
Awesome.
So,
how does the end of the game trigger in that game?
it's actually over 5 rounds, so you just want to try to do as much as you can within those 5 rounds. So, and typically, like the first round goes really quick. It kind of has that eclipse factor, I call it. If you ever played the game Eclipse, where the first round, the game in Eclipse, it's 7 rounds, but or is it 7 or 9 rounds? But it's super deceptive because people say it's a long game, and then the first time you play it, that first round goes by in 2 minutes because you only get a couple actions that you can do. But then by the 7th round, like that round alone takes like an hour.
Yeah.
Just because everyone's like ramped up so much, and now there's so much combat going on, and
it's like, and now I do this, and I do this thing to do that, and do this.
Exactly. And Imperial Settlers is very similar to that, in that the first round is very short, very quick, but by the time you get to the 5th round, you've got your engine going, you've got your production going, you've got all these special actions that you can take, and you have things that trigger off those actions and things like that to really ramp up your victory point generation. Because in the first round, you'll get like a couple of victory points here and there, but by your last round, you're racking in a whole bunch of victory points.
Awesome.
And that's also another game that Isaac's kicked my ashes in.
I like it.
Still bitter about it.
His hair, though, Isaac's hair is just like beautiful, though. He does have some phenomenal hair. You just want to run your hands through it. Is that weird? Is that not weird?
Absolutely
weird.
300%.
No. I think it runs in his family because I met his brother too.
I've talked to his brother. I haven't met Sam, right? The brother?
Yep.
Sam?
Yep, Sam.
Yeah, good guy.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah.
Sweet.
He's got awesome brothers.
Well, I'll go. I won't take very long. So my buddy Steven has been really sick. You guys have heard us talking about him in the past. I try to see him in and out. He's got a very severe case of Lyme disease, and he's basically been almost bedridden for almost a year now. He got it like last May, so like 10 months, 9 or 10 months. But he's really sensitive to light and to noise and to stuff like that. And so anyway, it's really rough. I love the guy. He's a fantastic young man, and so I try to go see him and visit him and stuff like that. And him and I are both fans of Axis and Allies, and so playing that a lot. And you guys have heard me talk about Axis and Allies before. I'm really excited. Actually, I haven't played with this yet, but I just acquired the Axis and Allies D-Day version, where one player is Europe and the United States, the other player is Germany, and you do the whole Battle of D-Day. But Axis and Allies is pretty much World War II in a box. And you split up your teams to the Axis, and you split up your teams with the Allies. If you play 2-player, they control the whole entire spectrum of each. A lot of fun. Absolutely love the game. Love the resource management. And I like tweaking it. Every time I play, I try not to follow history, because I just want to see, what could be different. And I love, if I'm Japan, speaking of Japan, invading Alaska and then building a factory there and trying to invade down. Or I usually invade China with Japan and build a factory there. And I try to eliminate Russia, because Russia's annoying enough where they're really poor. They don't have a lot of anything, but they can pump out little infantrymen. And infantrymen aren't good for attacking in their game, but they're good for defense. They get to roll double the amount, or they get double the amount of hit points on defense. And so you try to mess up Russia so that way Germany can just like sweep through, because America's not going to do anything the first couple of rounds. They're too far away and they don't have enough resources. And so Lovely game. Really enjoyed playing it. I'm excited to play the D-Day version. And then, have you heard of this? They have an Ultimate Axis and Allies, and I heard people talking about it, but I always looked up, try to purchase Ultimate Edition. It's not a game in itself. What it is there is Axis and Allies Europe, and then there's Axis and Allies the Pacific War. And so you combine the two maps. So you have basically the Europe map, and then you combine the Pacific map, and oh my goodness, the thing is absolutely huge. It's like 36 inches by 48 inches for your
Grab
board.
another table.
Yeah, you need a whole table just for the board. It looks amazing. I have some friends that have played that, and they were telling me about that. So now that's on my, I say short list, but it's actually a very long list because right now I'm broke. But it's on my list of things to get. I want to get those two because I don't have those specifics. I have multiple versions of the big global one. But man, it just, the way they were describing it looks so cool. I love big epic battles and fights like that, but it's more than just
dudes on a map and conquest.
Yeah, but then you also have the money with it. And then
Resource
you have negotiations, and then, if you play with enough people, you have a team, and you got to make sure everyone's working together and doing stuff. Because I've played games where, I was wrecking people, but then my teammate was just, checking out YouTube the whole time, not paying attention, and then people were able to surround me, and you can't do anything when you're surrounded. So Axis and Allies, really excited, and good game. I'd play it almost every day if I could.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Except for Spectre Ops. That game is beast.
I want to play
Seriously,
it.
bro, I love your Spectre Ops so much.
Oh, thanks.
It's that right there. That's on my wall of fame right there. In fact, if you guys see my finger right there where I'm tickling right there, right in that area, that's where Emerson signed my copy. I'm excited. Emerson,
I still remember running into you guys at Gen Con. That was awesome.
I will never forget that. That may be on my tombstone. And it's going to say, Robert Newman died in 1,000 years from now because of, medical research and stuff. We're going to live forever. But when I do eventually die, it's going to say, Emerson recognized him. That's it. Just
That's
that.
awesome.
Like 5 people will get it. They'll be like,
I always love it. Like I taught one of my friends who's been coming to game night more recently and hadn't come as much in the past. I taught him how to play Spectre Ops like a couple weeks ago. And it's always good, like when you're in the middle of the game and like they're playing it and really enjoying it, and they're like, "What's the name of this game?" And they're like trying to like note down what the name of the game is because they like want to look it up later. So I always know that's a good game when that happens.
I want to play it more, but every time I'm over at game night, it's like, oh, there's 38 people here. Neat.
That's why we gotta split into 2 groups. Spectre Ops plays
Yeah.
with a wide variety of numbers pretty well.
It
So.
does.
Oh.
I was gonna say when I was on the boat, I played it with 2 people, just me and my friend, and it was really good. Worked really well, even though he had never played it before.
Yeah, it was originally designed as a 2-player game, so it's I still feel like it's probably best at that player count. I'm not sure though.
It depends on how well you are with teamwork. When you're playing with more players, you got to work together.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah,
to
that's true.
combine your forces and become one.
Well, I'd also say if you play the 2-player count, it depends, and also same for 3, but what 2 hunters you choose to work together, because I think that matters a lot in the game. I have my specifics that I love for my hunters, and if other people pick other hunters, I'm like, okay. You sure you don't want this guy?
The beast and the puppet.
Right? I mean, the puppet.
The puppet's right there.
The puppet is too OP, but then if I'm going to play, I like to control the beast. Just that extra smell, that extra run if I need to chase you down, I can destroy you. But then the puppet moving, the car, and the sensory and all that kind of stuff.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, I mean, but I don't know. I like
Who do
the
you like?
puppet and the
Prophet.
no, the other one, the lady
Oh, the
with the sniper
sniper?
rifle. Yeah, who just
Yeah.
murders everything.
Yeah.
That's Emerson.
Ever since Emerson was talking about tips and trips the last time we were playing,
Yeah.
it was just like, oh no, you can just lay a trap. You can just set her somewhere and be like, I'm looking left, I'm looking left, I'm looking left, I'm looking left, and then that person just cannot go that direction. So you just hunt them down. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
You
always been
essentially
my...
build a wall.
But the beast has this nose, bro. He's got this nose. Man. Just nice.
That's true.
Awesome. Well, Matt, did you play anything that you remember?
Did I remember? No.
We did play a game that started with a Z, and you did some crazy stuff.
Oh, Zaya. Yeah. Yeah, we
actually starts with an X.
Truth.
Yeah, so we played Zaya. It was fun. It's Zaya. It's always just run around and be random and watch Roy just get mad that I'm just loading my ship up with damage every single time. It's so good.
Yeah, Matt's strategy in that game is high risk, high reward.
Pinball.
And he just goes high risk, like as much risk as possible. And he's like, "Oh man, bad things are happening." I'm like, "Dude, man, it's too risky. You're too risky, Matt."
Here's the thing, though. You say bad things are happening, but I lost to you by 1 point.
Truth. You did really good.
And there was nobody else who was close to us, so it was like, okay, cool. So, I mean, that's always my strategy, is just run around and run into stuff and bounce around like a pinball. Like, oh god, okay. So I had this opportunity, this golden opportunity that I don't know I'll ever be able to get again. But I essentially start off, go in my first turn, I fly over, get a mission. The mission is in the sector that I'm in, and I just need to pick up some illegal goods and then transport them to a planet that is 1 tile away. The issue is the door to the planet is kind of facing the opposite direction, so I'll have to go through the planetary shield. But I'm like, hey, if I get in and everything works out, they'll give me 4,000 credits. And I already had an extra one from picking up some stuff mining, so I'm like, I can have a turn 1 tier 2 ship. This is going to be fantastic. So I essentially bump into the planetary shield like 3 times and I don't actually break through on that first turn, and I get real upset. I mean, my ship didn't blow up. Everything was fine, but it's just real sad.
It almost blew up. You were so close to blowing up that everybody who had guns was like, "Hey, Matt, what's going on? You look pretty weak over there."
I had 2 hull points left. I had 1 in my engines and then 1 in my shields that was left open.
The funny thing, I think, is like if you had chosen not to try to go through the shields, and if you were like got good enough rolls, you probably could have just gone around and gone in the front door.
Yeah.
Especially if you just damaged your engines a couple times to go again.
Well, but see, my assumption here was if I went in and the smuggling didn't work because you had to roll, I think like a 13 or higher on a d20, so it's a little not in my favor.
Yeah.
But if I failed that, I would get a bounty. So I was like, why don't I just go ahead and fly in through the shield, get a bounty? If I get another bounty, oh well, cool, I'm a pirate now, and just roll on out. It'll be fine. But then I just slammed myself into a wall for 3 turns. It was good. Everything's fine.
Do you know anything about Zai, Emerson?
I do. So I've played it. I decided to go with the merchant route, where I'm just like picking up cubes and dropping them off. And at one point, I ditched like all my shields, I ditched my weapons, and I just loaded up on cargo. And I was like, I'm going to make a ton of money. But then
just
everyone,
get the biggest engine, and
I was hoping no one would notice that I had ditched my shields. But then people caught on. They're like, wait, he's got like 12 cubes there. Let's go after him. So
that's a lot of cubes, bro.
I ended up just sneaking around from planet to planet because you're safe as long as you're in the planet.
Yeah.
So if I rolled and I didn't roll enough to be able to make it to the next planet, I would kind of turtle, just so that I wouldn't get blown up. So, but I mean, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, that strategy didn't quite work out for me though. Having a big target on your back the whole time.
That was the last game we played. That was what I did. Like, I just started out, bought the biggest engine I could and had nothing else. And then Roy's like, man, I should really punish you for this. But I didn't buy guns, so I'm not going to worry about it. And in this game, he was like, if you don't buy shields, I will find you and I will murder you. And I was like,
by the time I got my second ship, and I'm like, time to get guns and kill you to get extra points.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, that game's all about like opportunity. Like, it's super Ameritrash and just random rolling dice and like luck all over the place, but it's all about like seeing like the patterns and like how you can figure out how to make points. Like, okay, well, if I go to this planet and then do that, and now I have this mission, so what's the best path to do that, but pick up things along the way. And oh my gosh, Matt's really low on health right now and he has a bunch of cubes. Let me just blast him out of the sky as I fly by, pick up his cubes, and continue on to go where he was going to drop him off. So that sort of thing, just seeing where the opportunities are and jumping on them. It's a blast and ton of fun.
Yeah. I think the beauty of that game is that you can play the way you want to play, right?
Yeah.
You can
Oh,
decide,
yeah, absolutely.
like, if you want to be confrontational, you can be confrontational. If you want to play Merchant of Venus and be pick up and deliver all the way, you can totally do that. As long as you don't mind the target on your back the whole way through. But yeah, you can. That's what I love about these sandbox games.
Yeah. I would love to see a lot more designers like make a lot of games where it's like, this is how you can be successful in the game, but we're not going to tell you exactly have to do it this way. Like, you have all these different options of how you want to do it, and you can just fly around or run around and do whatever you want. Like,
Yeah.
I love the whole sandbox experience in a game.
Yeah.
I like it because it almost reminds me of like a video game
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
It's just everything is already pre-programmed, so you just kind of sit down and do whatever you want to do in this world.
Yeah. Yeah. There aren't enough of these sandbox games.
I'm surprised that people haven't been jumping on it. Maybe they are. Maybe they're just not out yet. So.
They probably are. I mean, even Emerson can attest to this. It takes so long to develop like a good game.
Yeah.
You know, like we were talking. We had Josh Lubkovitz on the show last week from Gray Fox Games, and one of the comments he made is he didn't know last year was going to be the year of the Viking. You know, when they started their development of Champions of Midgard, it was like a year and a half before it came out, and then it seemed like all these Viking games came out. So hopefully people are seeing Xayah and they're jumping on that, because I think Xayah is probably the biggest push for sandbox games and sandbox type of games too.
Yeah. Someone should make like a Minecraft game where it's like a box with a whole bunch of cubes, just like
I've got an idea for a
ton
game
of
I'd
cubes
love
in
to
there.
pick your brain on.
Sure. Does it have
Well,
lots of cubes in there?
We could do it later. No. Just real quick, I'll throw this IP out there.
All right.
Hunger Games. Just think about it.
They've made bad Hunger Games board games before.
Emerson can make a good Hunger Games game, because you can
Emerson
go
can make any game good.
but you could go several different directions with that. You could go with the whole tribute direction, or you could go with the whole like stronghold type, where is somebody going to be the capital, somebody going to be the rebels, are you fighting them off and holding them off type of a thing. So we'll talk post show, post credits
Absolutely.
on that secret channel.
Sure.
Awesome.
I'll bop you into a 7-page Google
I have
Doc.
a feeling our secret channel talk is going to be quite lengthy because I have some things that are only reserved for the secret channel stuff.
And everybody in chat just got mad. Awesome. Well, that has been what we've been playing. So let's go ahead and get into our topic today, which is Nazca games. So if there's anybody who hasn't listened to the other podcast that you were on, tell us a little bit about what Nazca games is.
Okay, well, actually, it's probably a little bit different now because Nazca Games we were a publisher, so I published a couple of games, and then co-published Spectrops with Plaid Hat. Although Plaid Hat gets the majority of the credit for that one for sure. But we're kind of moving our focus away from publishing, and now we are now a design studio.
Nice.
And what that means is that we'll be working with other publishers like Plaid Hat, Z-Man, Arcane Wonders, and we'll be working with them to produce the games. So we'll be doing game design. We can also do like graphics, and in some cases, are you guys familiar with the Onitama, which is the new game from Arcane Wonders?
I'm
that Dice
actually
Towers-
super excited about that game.
Yeah. So the little miniatures is actually Nazca Games actually did the miniatures for that.
Oh,
So
really?
we did the 3D modeling for those miniatures.
So
we're
you
kinda
designed the
dabbling in-
miniatures yourself, or you got someone to do it, or?
Oh no, I did it because I also do 3D modeling as a hobby. So I've been a hobbyist dabbling in 3D modeling for a while.
That's awesome.
There are dozens of us. It's great.
Oh, you do 3D modeling as well? That's awesome.
A little bit, not a whole lot. I used to like draft and draw up house plans and stuff, so I've been trying to get into less of I'm drawing it with a pencil and trying to get into that like CAD systems and stuff.
I see. I see. So are you trying to work it into like AutoCAD? Like,
Yeah, I think I was starting with Maya because that was what everybody seemed to use for like kind of game stuff or just general. I don't know,
Maya's
3D.
really popular. I use 3ds Max myself,
Okay.
just because it was a little cheaper than Maya
Yeah.
at the time. Yeah. It was,
I still have a student copy that the license is about to run out on, so it's gonna be rough. It'll be all right.
yeah.
So how do you like stepping away from the whole publishing side of things and being freed up to do like more like design and creative stuff?
At first, I was a little torn about it because I always had envisioned, or what I always wanted was to have like a game company. Like I always, dreamed of like having those big booths at like Gen Con. I wanted to see like this big banner hanging from this 1,000-foot ceiling that they have over there. So I always had that like vision in my head. So to step away from that, I was a little bit torn about it. But I think when I take a look holistically at what are our core strengths, that I think it makes the most sense to go this route, to let the publishers that actually have more of a distribution network to publish the games, get it out into distribution. Because that was one of the challenges I had, was how to break into distribution, get it out into the retail channels.
Yeah.
To get the game out there was a pretty difficult challenge. Retail stores have, when they look at the catalog of games, obviously like Fantasy Flight, any Asmodee, Plaid Hat, Z-Man, Arcane Wonders, and Days of Wonder, and there's so many games out there, right? So getting into penetrating the retailer's mindset that, hey, you have some quality products, has always been a really, really difficult thing. So that was always one of my biggest challenges, is how do I do that? So, and I think from this perspective, that if I focus on the design and really just leverage the other companies, very established companies, their distribution networks, that I'll be able to get these games to more people, and be able to focus on creating, good, well-balanced designs and just fun games, hopefully fun games.
Yeah.
So that's the focus at the moment. And also we're going to be doing more app development, I promise. I know I have been slacking a bit on that department, but
I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm glad you recognized it.
yes.
Oh no.
No, that's
So I
got to be
do-
so tough, and plus it's still so very new. I know we all kind of predicted more games like XCOM to come out, but they really haven't. And so I understand that's still like a new genre cliche kind of thing going on with board games. So,
Yeah.
but I will say this: your app development on the Dead of Winter app, I like, and I like how it's simple, how it's
Yeah.
not
Oh.
over the top, hitting so many things, and then the noises. The noises are kind of creepy. I mean, they're good, but it's kind of like, okay, yeah, it definitely sets the mood.
So when I got my copy of Dead of Winter, I always played Rob's copy before, since he had a copy of it, but I got a copy for myself over Christmas. And I haven't even cracked a crossroad cards in my copy. I only use the app whenever we play the game. So
Oh,
like
that's
literally,
awesome.
I have the crossroad cards sealed, and I just use the app just so I can listen to Eric Summerer like read them to me and everything, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh,
So
Eric did such an awesome job with his voice acting for that.
yeah.
It was
They
it
did.
was great. I feel like that's actually really giving the whole value for the app.
Yeah.
As much as, like, we said initially, one of the goals for the app was to kind of stagger the information so that it felt more thematic. So you didn't have all the information right up front when you saw the card. So you had to kind of, or we wanted to give the players the opportunity to make thematic decisions rather than always looking at the outcome. And it would always be their option to do that. But adding Eric Summers' voice to it, I feel like that really gave the whole app like the life. I felt like people are buying it for his voice in many ways. So
I
not
enjoy
just
it a
with the
lot.
other features. Yeah. So
I think people are definitely paying more attention to the crossroad cards because sometimes you can get lost in them because of the decisions. There's a lot going on in Dead of Winter, but I
yeah,
think with the app, it does push you to pay more attention. One, it's easier. You don't have to worry about checking stuff all the time. It's just right there in front of you. But also, I think the other thing that sells the app with Eric is the voice. I love my friends, but they're not Eric Summer. They really don't get into reading the crossword cards,
yeah,
and so it's basically, what's the better decision? Okay, thumbs up, sure, let's do that. But with Eric, you get a story in the story, and that's what the crossroad cards are meant for. And he does such a
right.
beautiful job with that. It I don't know, I think it just enhances the decision making in it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I
absolutely.
also think it's cool that like it doesn't spoil the cards like prematurely. Like if
Yes.
the trigger doesn't go off, you just go to the next card. Like all you see is the trigger. So like
Right.
you're not gonna it's gonna give the game more replay value with those crossroad cards because you're not gonna be like, okay, well reading through it each time you play and be like, oh well this didn't happen, but this crazy thing could have happened.
Yeah.
You just see the trigger, and if the trigger doesn't happen, then you just go to the next one.
You're less
so
likely to be like, oh, is this the lighthouse card? Yeah, we're gonna do that for days.
Yeah.
All the time.
Well, it's like the screen cheating mechanic. You play video games with a buddy, you always look at your buddy's screen. Like when you read the crossroad cards, you see the outcome of the options on the crossroad cards. And to clarify Roy's point, you don't with the app.
Yeah.
You see the choices, but you don't see the outcome of it.
Right.
So,
right.
great job.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in all the app stores. Go check it out if you don't have it already.
I do have to apologize for those people who have the iPhone 6 Plus. There's a bit of a bug there where like the touch sensitivity for that particular like device, it's a little bit off. So I have to figure out what the problem is there. And I know it's been a bit of an outstanding problem, but I've been scouring the Unity forums to see if other developers have had similar issues and things like that.
That's interesting because that's the device I have, and I feel like I haven't really noticed much of an issue.
I tested on the regular, like the 6, not the Plus, so just the iPhone 6. So I've tested on that, and it's worked fine on that. But I just had some users that had the 6 Plus that have reported the problem.
Gotcha.
So, but it's interesting that you have the 6 Plus and it seems to work fine for you.
I have
Yeah,
the 6 Plus as well. It works good.
Yeah, it's not consistent. That's always the thing that makes it difficult. Yeah.
But you good times.
Cool.
Awesome. So, what games do you have in your current lineup? Maybe not games just published by Nazca, but just games under the Emerson Nazca umbrella.
Okay. All right. Let's see. The ones I can definitely talk about is Caravan, because I think they've already shown pictures of like the box covers for it, and
Yes.
they've already sort of announced it. So that is one of the games that I've designed that is going to be. It was originally with Plaid Hat Games. So Colby was the one that I showed it to, and he was interested in it. And he picked it up. And it was a surprise to me too, because it didn't seem like it fit into the Plaid Hats line. It didn't have much of a theme to it. It was very, it's a Euro style game, a family weight Euro style game.
Yeah.
So but once there was the merger where F2Z had acquired Plaid Hat, then they moved that particular game to, well, they're actually just going to be branding it under Z-Man, but I believe that Plaid Hat is still doing all the production of it. So like they're having their artists work on it, and for both of the covers as well. So
That's
or
awesome.
both aesthetics. So Plaid Hat's still doing all that. So it's going to have the same Plaid Hat art, attention to detail and everything. It's just going to have the Z-Man name on it.
Gotcha. So this is going to be like a family weight Euro, like in lines
It
with
is.
like Takinoko or like Settlers of Catan sort of thing.
Exactly, yeah. It's really that weight. There's very few rules. So like I think the rules fit on a page, or at least like one sheet folded over, kind of thing. So it's very rules light, and it's very easy to explain and play.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. The less you have to explain, the better, right?
I'm a super huge fan of like all these like deep, heavy thematic games, but when it comes to Euros, like I like my Euros like light, family weight, so I can literally play them with my family. That's who I normally play those games with, because my wife and like in-laws, they enjoy like that sort of game. So I have the Takinoko and the Settlers of Catan and Zularedo, all those sort of like little like family games that work really well with them. So I'm really excited to see what you've come up with.
Yeah, exactly. I have the same games too. I got, with my family, I play Settlers of Catan, Zularedo. My family's favorite is Stone Age. So
nice.
that's the one that they always keep asking for is to play Stone Age. But yeah, like Ticket to Ride or Carcassonne, it's about that weight, but it is a little bit thinky though. It's a little bit heady. Mm-hmm. Once you get into the game, but it's basically a. I have a funny story about how I pitched it to Colby because I wasn't expecting him to even consider it. So when I brought it to him, because he mentioned that he'd like to see what other designs I had. So when I brought it to him, I said, "This is a themeless, soulless, cube pushing Euro. You're not going to want it, but I'll show it to you anyways."
And didn't you guys say that he really enjoyed the game, which is?
Yeah, I was very, very surprised about that.
Which is awesome, because that's not the normal sort of game that's in his wheelhouse. So,
yeah, I was really stoked that they were really interested. I was shocked, but I was at the same time I was very, very surprised and excited too. So, anytime I have an opportunity to work with Plaid, I'm always jumping on that opportunity.
Awesome. So I saw that with Caravan, they're doing 2 completely different themes on the game.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So when I presented it to him, it actually had the name Spice Road. And the reason is that because I was making a Euro game, I was getting feedback from some of my playtesters. And, some of them are real big, Euro game fans. And, they like the idea of something historic. So I went with spice trading because the mechanisms kind of felt, there's a lot of trading of cubes. So you're trading, you're pushing cubes from, one type to another, trading them in for victory points. So it felt like that theme of trading spices where the cubes represent spices, you're trading them, and you're, trading them in to get victory points, really felt like that theme kind of fit into it. So that was my original theme that I had presented. So Plaid Hat was, gracious enough to stick with my original vision for the game. And in fact, I sent them a concept. So I had done, a kind of like a mosaic concept where I was grabbing some images off the internet and kind of photoshopping them together because I wanted some camels over here, I wanted a port over there, I wanted a palace in the background, and so forth. And the cover that you see on the Spice Road edition is almost to the T exactly how I had described it.
Well, that's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah, they really honored the way I wanted the presentation for that version to come out. So, and then the Crystal Column edition is something that the Plaid Hat team came up with. So that was completely their vision for the game. Now, normally game companies would just stick with one theme and say, hey, this is what we're going to go with. But, but Plaid Hat decided they're going to do something different, and they're going to actually have 2 different aesthetics for the game. The mechanics are all going to be the same, so it's going to play exactly the same, but it's just the aesthetics and the looks and this backstory, the theme is going to be different.
Is that kind of like the Pandemic Legacy blue box, red box type of thing, where it's the same game, just different aesthetics?
But it's all going to be different on the inside with art, right?
Yes. It actually goes deeper than Pandemic, where Pandemic is just the color of the boxes. Yeah. But the contents in the box, so the Spice Road edition will actually have, I believe it's going to have wooden components, and the art on the cards are going to be different. The Crystal Golem edition is actually going to have the little gems that you'll be trading instead of the wood components.
That's awesome.
So the components are going to be different. Also, the artwork on all the cards are going to be completely different too.
I don't know if you'll be able to answer this question, but price point, is it going to be competitive? Or are they going to be the same price? Because that seems like 2 different types of headaches when it comes to selling that or getting all that manufactured. What do you know about that?
That's a good question. I suspect that they'll have the same price point.
You heard it here first.
But
Exact same price, guys.
I suspect so. Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, it would
I'm
make
not
sense that they do. It's just I don't know the manufacturing between wood and then the plastic crystals. However you want to make that. I mean, it's
Right.
it's it's whatever. I think they use Panda. That's who their big manufacturer is.
Yeah.
I don't know their pricing when it comes to those two components, but it's just a thought.
Yeah, the plastic gems are, I mean, I think the wood components is slightly more costly. At least when I had spoken to the Panda rep, that the wood cubes are more expensive than plastic cubes
Yeah.
in general. I mean, there's always going to be some exceptions to that. But let me ask you guys something. Out of these two editions, which one has you more excited?
So I am a basic nerd. Like you hear them talk about all the basic girl with their Starbucks and yoga pants. Like I am the basic nerd that's all about sci-fi and fantasy and thematic games. I don't know. I'm pretty excited about the Crystal Golem one just because it's
Is that the blue one?
and it's a rock guy and the picture's real cool. He's looking at a little tree. I don't know, that gets me pretty excited. But now that it's oh well, this was my original thing, they both have me intrigued. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, cool. Have you guys played that video game called Shadows of the Colossus?
Yes.
I know what you're talking about. It's an old game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the Crystal Golem edition really gave me that vibe from that game, from Shadows of the Colossus. So I was really excited about that because I was a big fan of the game.
That makes me want it more.
I know.
Right?
I mean, that's what I thought when I saw the art, and I'm just it looks awesome.
Yeah.
That's the main thing I want. I think it's the blue one. Is that the Golem one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
just
wonder
the
if we'll
artwork
have a
on that
divide
is-
where it's thematic, Ameritrash people go this way or go toward the Golem, and then the rest of the people go towards the Spice Road that are your hardcore Euro fans. It'll be interesting to see how it all turns out. It turns out it's a really awesome experiment.
Yeah. One's fantasy, the other one's more, I guess, historic.
Mm-hmm.
So, I remember I had sent Colby sort of a little blurb, and it was a little history about spice trading and stuff like that. And I was going to put that as sort of the intro to. It was going to be totally history geeky stuff.
Yeah.
But I thought it might be something that Eurogamers might appreciate.
That's
if
awesome.
it had the game has its basis in history.
That's really awesome. It was funny, we had Isaac on, and we were talking about how games smelled or something like that, and he said something about making Caravan have smells to it or whatever, and he's like, I almost ruined Emerson's game.
Yeah, I remember Colby contacted me and says, hey, what do you think of scented wood? And I can't remember what my initial reaction was, but I thought it's interesting, but actually, I remember what I mentioned to him is that I told him to be a little careful because, Stone Age, there are certain copies of Stone Age where they had the leather cup that had a very strong smell to it. So when you have scented components, it's a bit of a risk.
And it stays in that box all nice and compact.
Yeah.
The story actually came out. Isaac was talking about it because I was talking about how I have a game called Dracon, which the ink that they use to make the game just smells like vomit, basically. So, and that's the game. The third edition that I have is known for that. Literally, if you go on Board Game Geek and look at the reviews, people are fun game. Tiles smell like vomit. It's pretty funny. So Isaac was yeah, we were gonna make this scented game, and I was it was Emerson's, and it was gonna be a cube game. I'm was it Caravan? He's oh no, shouldn't said anything. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm I keep up with all you guys. You can't talk about a game without me knowing a little bit about it.
I do think that would be kind of interesting. You have a stack of cubes, these smell like tarragon, these smell like ground cumin. Just all sorts of different
stuff.
There's a company that did that, and they didn't do so much cubes, but you could get these little containers that had these little gel beads.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so if you wanted to play a game, but you wanted something that made it feel more realistic. They had a whole bunch of different smells, everything from wonderful smelling stuff from flowers to different foods to campfire to stuff that was like fish guts and dried blood. Tom
The
Vassell was
decaying
talking about
corpses
it.
of your enemies.
Tom Vassell was talking about it on the Dice Tower one day. He was like, "Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever use some of these. Some of these, were nice, but
Yeah, they sent him a whole bunch to like review and talk about on the show, and he's pretty much like, these smell terrible. But a lot of them were supposed to smell terrible. Like they're supposed to be for like a role playing game where you just open it up and like have it sitting in the room. It's like, do you really want to, like, if you're role playing in like a mausoleum, do you really want to open up like the dead corpse smell like while you're playing, or like, oh no, in dead of winter the zombies are attacking, here's the zombie smell. Like,
let me go ahead and light this musty mold candle.
It might be a little bit too real.
I think at one point I thought trying to come up with a game that actually incorporated like scratch and sniff stickers, if you guys remember that from
Yeah.
back in the 80s.
That would be a good mechanic for time stories.
What is this smell? Choose behind this door depending on which smell
If
you
it's
think
strawberry,
it is.
go to 6. If it's orange, go to 7.
Is that the Willy Wonka edition of Time Stories?
Dude, I'll do that.
Snozberries? No, I'm just kidding.
You just go to like a chocolate factory, get real high all of a sudden. You're like, what is happening? You just like go to like an Alice in Wonderland trip. Like you're
Willy
trying to, like,
Wonka has
things
opened
back-
another dimension. We must stop him. Those Oompa
It's
Loompas are
going
up
to
to no
unleash the
good.
everlasting gobstoppers on the entire world.
that would be awesome.
That is awesome.
We need the recipe to make fusion power. It'll be fine.
Awesome. Well, I guess let's move into more of the apps and stuff that you're working on. How is the Spectre Ops app coming along that you've been working on?
So I had like a period of 3 weeks back in like August or September where I got to like work on the app. But like I mentioned before the podcast, that a lot of family stuff had come up, and then I was also diverted to work on some of the other projects like Caravan and a couple of other projects. So it's taken a bit of a backseat, and I do apologize. But I do plan to have that ready this year, actually this summer, to actually have it, fully working, and then hopefully up in the App Store by midsummer or so.
That's great.
Yeah.
And still all the same features and stuff you're working on, with just basically it becoming like the notepad and everything, and you can retrace your steps and stuff in it too, right?
Yeah, it'll have the history, so it'll be able to show you like turn by turn what's going on. So that feature it's in the works. At this point, I think what I'm doing is I'm translating all the models. So basically all the board features, I'll need to create like all the 3D models for them, and retopologize them to have a lower poly count, retexture. I mean, Matt knows exactly what I'm talking about. So that's just more, it's tedious work, or it's just kind of like you just got to go through the motions to get all that stuff done, because it's just you just tackle it one model at a time. So, but yeah, I do. I feel like if I can actually complete some of the projects that I'm working on and then divert my attention to it, it's not going to be too much time in terms of getting something working and then being able to get some alpha or beta testers to test out the features and stuff.
Well, we're always here for you, man.
Yeah.
That's
You'll be
awesome.
my first guinea pigs. I mean, play testers.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. No,
Yes.
So does the app also allows you to have where the hunters currently are on the thing
Correct.
too, right?
Yeah. It's actually going to require the agent player to keep track of where the hunters are.
Right. Which
because
is good for like gameplay as the agent, because I know last time I played, I've played it as the hunter a ton of times. Last time I played was actually the first time I ever played as the agent. So I had to do a lot of tracking, being like, okay, where are the hunters, and like mark it down on my thing just so I could make the correct move depending on where they were.
Right.
So,
You just need to know when you cross their line of sight, so you'll know where to put the markers and so forth. So, yeah. So the app's going to need to keep track of all that stuff for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that'll help up your agent game.
Hopefully, yes.
So awesome. So any info about the Long Night stuff? I know we talked about the Dead of Winter app. Did you get any update on Long Night Crossroad cards coming to the app?
Well, let's see. I know that Isaac had mentioned that that the Crossroad cards for the Long Night should be integrated into the app. So I just need to work with Plaid get the information.
Emerson heard it here first.
Yeah, actually, yes, I did. I was watching.
And you're like, oh, okay.
I was watching your watching your Twitch stream or your after you put it up on YouTube. So I was watching that, and Isaac mentioned that hey, we're putting this up into the app, and I thought, hey, that's great. I'm glad I heard it.
That's awesome.
But it in all honesty, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. It's really just importing the data files and just getting them in, and we just need to actually get time with Eric Summer if we want him to do see what his availability
Eric
is.
to a microphone, making him record.
Yeah, exactly. So, but hopefully we'll be able to get the support for the Long Night incorporated into the app. Hopefully, close to the time that it's going to be released. And I believe that it's an Origins release. I think that's what Isaac said. I believe. I'm guessing.
That's what I've heard.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about that. I don't know about you guys, but
That's
more data. Yeah.
Super close.
I got to see some of the art and illustrations while I was over at the Plaid Hat office.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's some really, really cool ideas going around. And,
I am so
super excited about it.
Some of the new mechanics. He talked to us about it on the shows, so I won't be spoiling anything, but the fact that there are going to be people now coming into the complex that you have to fight off other people rather than just zombies. And
isn't there a lot more Raxon stuff too?
Yeah, there's a Raxon location actually.
There's a Raxon location, yeah.
I'm just excited to get into more of the lore of the world because that's the same world as Spectre Ops, which is super exciting. So.
Yeah. Did he mention about anything about the zombies?
I saw that there's like
new
crazy
type of
plagued zombies or whatever, like with the bubbles all over them and everything.
Yeah. Like some of the new zombie types seem really, really cool.
Yeah.
That's like when when he was on the podcast, we were talking about, since it's the same world as Spectre Ops. I was like, when's the expansion that's going to add the Beast into
It's Sparky.
Thank you.
It was Sparky all along.
Yes, I said that. And Isaac was like, no, it's not Sparky. I was like, yes, that it is. Somebody shot Sparky with the tranquilizer gun, and they just took the cape off of him, but that is Sparky is the Beast. Did I not say that, Roy? I did say that. Oh, my goodness. Thank you. Emerson just clarified it. It's official.
So I saw that they had like this like little web app thing, the whole My Raxon thing for the winter. I have no clue how to do that thing. I just get the every time.
I cheated.
Nice. Have you seen that, Rob?
I have not.
They have a special website for it's like a little teaser spoiler thing. But apparently there's supposed to be a way to play Dead of Winter themed Oregon Trail on it.
Oh, fantastic. This is an ARG. Yes.
Yeah.
This is my jam.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically myraxon.com, and basically it is sort of like spoilery for the thing, but it asks you to put in a passcode. Emerson, did you say you hacked it?
I kind of cheated a little bit. But I did right click and I said view source.
Yeah.
Because awesome.
it also gave me the you didn't say the magic word, so I was like, oh, okay, fine, I'm gonna just cheat here. And not saying that you guys should do that. I would say don't.
Okay. That was terrifying.
If you need the passcode, I think it's Fuzzy Munchies. Is that what it was?
Oh yeah.
Which is
I just found that. Did you guys get the cereal box that floats around with the rabid chihuahua on the front?
Yeah.
Man, that's ridiculous.
All right,
so definitely check that out. That's myraxon.com. I'm not sure. How do you spell it?
Raxxon.
Yep. Yeah. It's got 2 X's in there.
Nice.
Whole human parts guaranteed. Real brains in every bite. Prevents Failing of limbs, bloody munchies. They will revive you.
Oh, that's right. Bloody Munchies. That's what it was.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
Free undead friend figurine inside. It's fantastic.
But yeah, guys, check that out if you want some more Dead of Winter: The Long Night spoilers, which we're all super excited about.
Yeah.
What's
So-
the passcode? Fuzzy munchies.
Bloody munchies.
Everybody's
Bloody
gonna look it up
Munchies.
while we're live on the podcast.
If you just leave it on that tab and don't do anything, a screensaver comes up and you'll see the box kind of bouncing around.
That's awesome, and it looks super creepy.
It is. It's terrifying.
And of course, it has the Jurassic Park. Which is awesome.
Did you explore like all the little options and things like that? Get a little bits of story blurbs.
This is awesome.
Like
I couldn't. I didn't actually have time to figure out the passcode because I was like on break at work. So I was like,
oh,
okay.
It's
Yeah,
definitely what I'm
gonna have
going
to
to
check
be
it out a little
doing
bit more.
either after this or sometime tomorrow.
Awesome.
It would be good.
So now the obligatory question that Rob likes to ask: are there any new designs from Nazca that are coming up that you'd like to talk about, or that you're allowed to talk about, or do you have to plead the fifth?
Let's see. I know one I was specifically asked not to mention too much about it.
Oh, hold on. So
So-
that wasn't saying that you couldn't mention it at all. It said too much. So what's the little much you can mention?
Let's see. It is a hit and roll game.
Okay.
You got Matt's attention.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Is that yours? Okay.
I've heard
you
lots
can
about,
no longer confirm or
on
deny,
other
but didn't you make
podcasts
a
about
didn't
a
you make a
hidden
hit and
roll.
roll game for your Spectre Ops? You were playing
Yes.
that last year at Gen Con, and I
Yes.
remember one of the pictures because Jerry was making comments about it. Is that game that we're not supposed to know about, but accidentally just know about it?
I know this is going to seem odd, but they're actually two different games.
What?
So there is one.
busy.
There is one hit and roll game that's set in the Spectre Ops universe,
That's
or
awesome.
at least that's the initial intention, and that's also something I've been busy trying to like. It's gone through mass playtesting and need to do some fixes to it, so I've been working on that. And then there's also another hit and roll game that I've been working on, which I can't. That's the one I can't mention too much, but I can mention it is a hit and roll game because I think we've mentioned that last time. I think so. I think we mentioned that last time. But yeah. So, but I can't. They have something special in mind for it, so I don't want to spoil too much just yet. But stay tuned here at this Epic Gaming Night channel to get the latest scoop on stuff.
Thank you for that plug.
So, and I'm also working on one design for Arcane Wonders as well.
Mhm.
So it is currently the theme is like a city building game that I'm working on.
Oh, nice.
So
Are they coming back? Arcane Wonders. They have they used to be like one of the big players, and they kind of fell off the map a little bit. And are you excited about working with them? And of course you
How did
are,
they
but
fall
like,
off the map, Rob?
well, I mean, they did like Small World, and they did
Not Arcane Wonders. Arcane Wonders is the ones who did.
Oh, are you talking about Days of Wonder?
Okay, never mind. Yes,
You've got your companies mixed up. Arcane Wonders did Mage Knight, and
That's right. That's right.
they're releasing Onitama, which is
it's
Dice
Mage
Tower.
Wars. Mage Knight is
Yes,
actually
you're
is
right.
good.
yeah. Mage Wars.
We're all
Mage
getting it
Wars,
mixed
we're
up.
all wrong. And they have
Meanwhile,
the Mage
I'm
Wars
just
Academy,
not
and
understanding
then
anything.
that was like their first game was all the Mage Wars stuff, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool. And
Yeah,
then
Sheriff
they
of
did Sheriff of Nottingham,
Sure.
which was
That's
super
right.
huge.
They've got the logo with the star that's like going across. It's like black. It's like black and purple. Is that their logo?
You're just making up stuff.
Dragon.
Is it a dragon?
Yeah, it's a dragon.
I didn't have glasses last time I looked at the.
But yeah, Onitama is coming out, which is pretty cool, and that's the whole like the really cool like is it like Japanesey like samurai-ish theme sort of
little bit
where
more like-
it's abstract where you're moving people around.
Yeah. So it's a bit of like a martial arts theme, or at least that's the vibe that I got
Gotcha.
from it. So it's super simple. I got to play it while I was at BGG Con, and it is a super clever game. The moves you have just you have two cards.
Right.
You play one of the cards, and whatever card you play will eventually get to your opponent. So whatever move you made, what you're now enabling your opponent to do. So, and based on that, you can think about what your next. So, there's all these opportunities to do some forward planning. So it's really, really clever.
And there's 5 moves in each game, so there's like 5 different move types, and they're all like the dog or the dragon and different things like that. So it's really cool, like Chinesey sort of feel, I guess, like Zodiac sort of feel, or like I guess martial arts forms or whatever, right?
Yeah. It's got that martial arts vibe.
But there's not only 5. There's tons of them. You just only play with 5 each game.
Correct.
So
correct,
whenever you start up a new game, you shuffle up all the different things and you deal out your 5 to each player, which is pretty awesome. And there's 2 that each player has, and then 1 that's in the middle that switches in between. You've got like a grid board that's not very big, and you're just trying to either take out the other player's, what is the master, try to take out the other player's master, or get your master onto their
to their temple or that row in the back.
Which that's the entire game. Like, I basically told you how to play the game, so it's super simple, like abstract, but really cool, like back and forth 2-player game.
And it's one of those games that has like a really, really small rule set, but yet it opens up a lot of possibilities for how you play your moves and trying to outwit your opponent. So it's really clever.
And the fact that the moves are different, like each time you play it, makes the replayability like really high, because it's like changes up how the characters can move this game, and you got to figure out when to give your opponent the specific card and when to hold on to it and different things like that. So you're not killing off your own master.
right. Yeah. Exactly. So it's really, really cool. So those are the ones that I have. I do have like other designs that I'm also working on along with that, which is probably distracting me from what I should be doing, which is working on the Spectre Ops app. But sometimes you'll get that bug, the bug will bite you, and you just have to like pursue this idea that you have. So I've been doing some of that, and I have one particular design that I'm pretty excited about, but it's still really, really early though.
Gotcha.
So, but I'll definitely let you guys know once that gets fleshed out a bit more.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, what conventions will you be showing up at this year, Emerson?
Let's see. I will definitely be at Origins and Gen Con, but I won't have a booth there, though. So I will probably be at Origins. I will see if I can be hovering around the Black Hat booth, hopefully showing off like an alpha or a beta version of the Spectre Ops app there.
Awesome.
So, and then at Gen Con, hopefully I'll have the full version of the Spectre Ops app. Well, I'm sure by then I should have the Spectre Ops app completed and should be on the App Store and available, and I should just be showing off, the full version of it at that point. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
Well, we will hopefully see you at Gen Con. We won't be able to make it to Origins, but we are bringing our Epic Gaming Night entourage to Gen Con, so that should be a ton of fun.
Awesome. So, Matt, you're coming?
Oh, yeah. I'll
Awesome.
be there, too.
Very cool.
Be crazy.
Yes.
I'm actually really excited for our hotel room at Gen Con.
Every podcast, you're going to mention this hotel room.
Well, I mean, we just have a lot of people staying in our room. It's gonna be awkward and uncomfortable. It's gonna be really loud. Like, I don't think anybody's gonna sleep. Like, 2 people are gonna sleep. I'll probably be one of them, and then one other person. But between me and somebody else, it's gonna be loud.
Awesome. So I guess I'll skip a question here. What are you most excited about in the board gaming community currently?
Oh, what am I most excited about? Really, right now, it's really just working with everyone in the industry. So working with other publishers, I'm really excited about. Because I have a lot of publishers that I am really excited to work with if I have the opportunities to. Like, for instance, like Portal Games. If or say Crash Games, or Catalyst Game Labs.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. So that's one of the things. And then the other thing I'm always super excited about is just like getting to know everyone in the community. Podcasters, reviewers, folks like Rodney Smith that do watch it played videos, and just getting to meet them at these conventions and hang out with them. And I'm always super excited about doing that. So I feel like when I go to the conventions, one of the things I'm really excited about is just meeting the people.
Nice.
So the last convention I went to was TotalCon, and that's in Mansfield, Massachusetts. And I got to spend some time with the Flip to Table guys as well as the guys from the Cardboard Jungle. So, those are usually my highlights. It's just hanging out with the people.
Nice. Do you normally get to play many games at these conventions, or is it mostly like networking and trying out prototype sort of stuff?
A lot of times it is, networking. I do get a few games in, and then usually I'll be like showing off a prototype that I have.
Gotcha.
So
I guess since you're going to be shifting away from publishing into more of the designer, like creator sort of thing, networking is going to be like the main thing. I mean, it was already a huge thing as a publisher, but it's going to be even more so.
Yeah, and I enjoy it too. It's like getting to know everyone in the industry is really great.
That's awesome.
So,
completely different question. This is what I've been asking all of our second time interviewees, the second time they come on, because the first time I normally ask what their favorite board game is, but this time I'm going to ask, what's your personal favorite movie?
I'm not going to say Fifth Element because Isaac took that one already. So
it's a good one, though. It's a good one.
It is. That is a really good one. Multipass. So I know for a long time there was a movie that I really, really enjoyed. It's a bit of an obscure one, I think. It's called Sneakers. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it.
What's it about?
It's a movie about hacking.
Yes.
Cryptography and hacking.
Did that have Angelina Jolie in it?
I don't believe so.
Well, she was like really, really young.
Well, that was.
Did it start like a young kid who had to, like, he was 12 years old and he cracked like the CIA, and he wasn't allowed to use a computer until he was like 30, but he gets out of juvie at like 18, and he meets up with Angelina Jolie and them while he's young, and he's in the city and meets up with this hacker group, and they're.
Is that Swordfish?
Was it?
No, that's not Swordfish. No, this is.
I think that was a movie called Hackers, right?
Was it called Hackers?
Rob's going to describe an entire movie that's the wrong movie.
So, Faded. You see a dystopian New York on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go that deep. But.
Yeah, this one was called Sneakers. This one had like Robert Redford.
Oh, nice.
I have seen that movie. That's an old movie, though, bro.
Yeah, it's an old movie. Yeah, I'm an old guy, so.
I mean, that's good. We like old people.
Glad. You should have me and Jerry Hawthorne on your show more often.
Oh man,
the old cast.
Yeah.
Who else can we invite? Let's get Bonacor on. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Should I leave?
Good times.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So,
hacking movies are always cool.
Yeah. One movie is tough though. Like just trying to pick one.
I know.
It's really tough.
I feel like that's the thing. Anytime anybody asks you like what your favorite thing is, like unless it's like a color, you're like, can I just give you like 5 in no particular order? Just throw them out.
It's kind of like when someone asks you what is your favorite game.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
Good times. Well, is there anything else you would like to talk about or promote?
Oh, let's see. There's this awesome podcast called the Epic Gaming Night Podcast. That's
you heard it here first, guys.
Latest scoop on the industry. I
mean, right? We are amazing, right?
Rob keeps saying that, but
I believe
stay humble.
It is part of that, but I also believe in like manifestation and stuff like that. You got to put that stuff out there because I believe you attract things to you based off of. I'm not saying like get prideful or whatever, but Emerson likes us, guys. Like, we're kind of a big deal. He could have been on any other podcast tonight, and he was on ours. Again.
Yeah.
If they come back a second time, we had to do something right. They're not like, sorry, man, busy that night.
Yeah.
No, this is always it's always a blast to hang out with you guys. I still remember
so excited
at Gen
when you
Con.
said that part about going to all the cons, and you're excited about meeting everybody. And I love that part where you said meeting us was so amazing.
Yeah. No, because remember I came up to you guys and I remember like walking away and then thinking I've seen these guys before, and it kept bothering me for like the next 15 minutes. I was like looking at you guys, scratching my head, trying to figure. I know them. I've seen them. And then it finally dawned on me. It's like, oh, you guys are from Epic Gaming Night. And then I had to run over to tell you that I've seen you guys before.
I think Roy and I could not get the smiles off of our face for like a month until you like came on the show afterwards. We were just like, guys, people actually listen to our show, and it's actually people in the industry. In fact, it's the guy who created Spectre Ops. Like, we were on such a high.
It was pretty funny because like our friend who's part of our just gaming group, he isn't like part of the podcast or anything like that, was like slightly making fun of us a little bit. He's like, you guys like flipped out when Emerson came over to you. You could tell he was making fun of us a little bit, but he was a little bit jealous too. Whatever.
Yeah.
But this is
that
pretty
was
fun.
awesome. Yeah. That's one of the things I always love about the conventions is just like meeting everyone. That's a lot of times like like when I saw like the Dice Tower guys for the first time. I mean that is I guess there's a little bit of like that starstruck feeling when you watch someone.
For so long,
for so long, exactly. Like I watched Tom Vassel's videos since it was like 2005. 2006.
He's been doing them for a long time.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a really, really long time. So I remember watching like a lot of his early videos, and I just kept watching and actually he's probably one of the big reasons why I'm in this hobby too.
Yeah.
He's because he had such enthusiasm. Like you guys have like a lot of enthusiasm for gaming, and you want to spread the word and spread the hobby and things like that. And early on, I mean, Tom Vassell was doing stuff like that, and I mean, he was the one that that made me go out and say, I got to buy this ticket to ride.
Yeah.
It's like, he's so passionate about it. He loves this game. It's like, okay, I got to go buy this ticket to ride. Next thing I know, I'm buying like Carcassonne, then Small World, then Settlers of Catan, and then now I have like a shelf full of like over 100 games.
I pretty much have like the same story. So
Yeah.
I'm like watching these other like reviewers and different things like that. It's just like, oh my gosh. A thing that I was talking to Isaac about when he was on the show is I listened to the Plaid Hat podcast for like forever. And it's really interesting, like with these different medias and stuff like that, you see these people on like a podcast or on like videos on YouTube or whatever, and you just watch them for like years, and you feel like you're friends with those people, even though it's like one-sided friendship sort of. Like I know a lot about you because I've watched you for years on this podcast or whatever. But I mean, that's what they have to think is like, I know what your favorite board game is. I know like what kind of music you like. I know what food you like. It's kind of weird. And then when you meet them in person, it's just kind of like, I know you. You don't know me, but I know a lot about you, which is pretty interesting. So
yeah.
That's why it's always Isaac. I feel like all the guys from like the Plaid Hat podcast are like family to me because I've listened to so many episodes. So
right. You feel like you know them, and I know exactly what you mean there. So, but I mean, in terms of like doing like a shout out, I mean, you guys had like Mark Street on your show, right?
Love that guy. Super nice.
Yeah, he's awesome. So. You guys should get Chaz Marler from Paradise on your show.
That would be awesome.
He is like I watched some of his early videos too, and they were all hilarious. I can't recommend his channel enough, because it's one of those channels where like every video like that I watch, he had me just laughing hysterically. It's awesome.
Who's this?
Chaz Marler. He does the Pair of Dice Paradise. He's actually doing a lot of his videos on the Dice Tower channel now, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So is it time for that secret talk channel?
Well, we're going to close out the podcast now. Leading into talking about all this stuff, we're going to have our 50th episode in 2 weeks, and a ton of different people from the industry, previous guests, are going to come on the show, and we're going to talk about craziness, and it's just basically just going to be a celebration of being on the podcast or having the podcast for a year and getting to 50 episodes. And it's just going to be a fun time with a bunch of people hanging out. I think you're coming back on for that, Emerson, right?
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes, seeing that I'm going to have a ton of people on. We might have to schedule it out if my internet doesn't allow me to have that many people on Skype
At the same time, yeah.
You just upgraded to gigabit. You'll be all right.
Yeah, we should be good. My internet connection's good. I'm a little bit more worried about my computer. But yeah, it should be awesome. So make sure to check that out. We've got some other announcements on that 50th episode as well. So super excited about that. But that's pretty much been a podcast. We stream these every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And that's at twitch.tv/Epic Gaming Night. Make sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram. We post a bunch of pictures and things there of all the board games we're playing and the things we're excited about in the industry. Make sure to hit us up on Facebook, and then also check us out on iTunes. Hit us up with reviews there, and our Board Game Geek Guild. We've got actually a micro badge for Board Game Geek you can get over there. If you want an Epic Gaming Night micro badge, I'm giving people Geek Gold so they can get it. So that's pretty exciting. Where can they find you, Emerson?
Let's see. Probably the best place would be on Twitter. I'm at Nazca Games.
Mm-hmm.
Or Facebook is, Facebook/Nazca Games.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It has been a
thanks
ton
for
of
having
fun,
me.
as always.
Absolutely. This was a lot of fun, guys. I always love hanging out with you guys.
Yes, and you're not going anywhere.
We're going to have our super secret meeting.
Everybody's going to be like an agent trying to sneak into the after show.
Yeah.
Peace. Okay,
Goodbye.
well, I'll say bye to everybody in chat. Thanks, guys, so much for checking us out. Make sure to follow us on Twitch if you want to get alerted when we're doing more of these streams, and hit us up anywhere and ask us any questions. It should be a ton of fun. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.